I feel like I started from scratch and I tried everything all over again. So after all my passion about this and seeing friends and their troubles that they had, and they'd ask me about things, usually after they'd stop and there wasn't much I could do to help. But I wanted to find a way to help moms who were in the same situation as me, and I wanted to put together something for those moms.
Today we're here with Naomi from Colson and Joe, and she's here to kind of share her story and tell us all about Colson and Joe. So welcome, Naomi.
Thank you.
All right, so awesome. To start, do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, sure. So my name is Naomi Leach. Colson and Joe is actually named after not just my son, but my partner's son as well. And I have a daughter and a son. So my daughter came first. She's 4 years old, and then Colson came second, and he's 2 years old. They were about 22 months apart.
I read you had some challenges when it came to breastfeeding your son. So is that where the name for it kind of came from?
So I had a lot of struggles with both. So with my daughter, so let me preface this with, I am a research-aholic. So when I was pregnant with my first, I researched everything. I was like, how to get them to sleep through the night and when to start foods and baby-led weaning and all that good stuff. So I did so much research, but the one thing I didn't really research was nursing. I figured it was a natural thing. Your baby nurses, that's all there is to it. So the only thing I really researched was pumping a little bit because I am a working mom and I travel for work. So that was one thing I knew I needed to pump and have enough for whenever I traveled. So when my daughter got here, so with my daughter, we had some latch issues. It was so painful. Like her latch was bad. It was really painful. I was getting cracked and bleeding nipples, and it was just unexpected. So now I'm starting to research all this nursing stuff that I hadn't researched before. So she had latching issues, and then we decided to exclusively pump. So that came with its own challenges. Every 3 hours, even when she was sleeping long stretches, I was pumping every 3 hours. And then I ended up with, supply issues. So then came the whole, okay, now I'm researching supply, what I can do to increase it. I was making home lactation cookies. I was taking fenugreek and anything I could use, brewer's yeast, flaxseed, like literally anything I could find on the internet. I was trying. I was staying super hydrated. The amount of oatmeal cream pies I ate is unreal because that actually did help my supply. Not sure if it's because I ate so many of them or what. So after so many things, I found out what worked for me, what didn't work for me. Fenugreek did not work for me at all. My body did not react to it well. It actually decreased my supply. Long story short, we ended up making it a year. I ended up getting an oversupply. I donated about 3,000, 4,000 ounces total. And I was so happy about that. I did human milk for human babies, and I was able to donate to other moms with moms who had babies in the NICU or babies that were born prematurely and they just weren't, their milk didn't come in or, something happened. And I really focused who I gave my milk to being those NICU and premature mamas just because I felt like those babies needed it more. Breast milk's good for babies in general, don't get me wrong. But I just felt like, that was a little bit more of a need and I wanted to help those moms because the amount of money that hospitals charge for breast milk is just insane. Anyways, so first one, I think I'm a pro now. I've researched everything. I've gone through everything I could possibly think of, cracked, bleeding nipples, nipple confusion, low supply, clots, everything. So baby 2 comes along and I'm like, oh, I got this, right? So he comes in, he latches great, everything's going good, and then I hit a supply issue again. I did the cracked and bleeding nipples, I was expecting that. I had some clots, expecting that. And then the supply issue. So I'm like, oh, I know what to do for this. Start doing all this stuff. Nothing's working. I'm just like, what's going on here? Well, my body was just reacting differently this time. So I feel like I started from scratch and I tried everything all over again. And I spent so much money on things to increase my supply on a monthly basis. Things that I would try for a couple of days, they wouldn't work, or they would decrease my supply. And most things you buy in a month or 2 months supply. So there was so much stuff I trashed because it just didn't work for me. So after all my passion about this and seeing friends and their troubles that they had, and they'd ask me about things, usually after they'd stop and there wasn't much I could do to help. But I wanted to find a way to help moms who were in the same situation as me that weren't able to either do the research or didn't think about doing the research, or maybe didn't have the funds to try all these different things. And I wanted to put together something for those moms. So that's how the kind of breastfeeding subscription box came to be, through my struggles the second time, not just the first time around, but the second time around as well, and knowing that your body is so different every time. And that's kind of how the idea was born.
Oh wow, that's such a empowering story. That's really cool that you're wanting to give back and just help other moms, with all their struggles as well. Because like you said, it's it just differs from, you might think you have it down pat for the first baby, and then it just, life throws curveballs at you sometimes. Right. So that's really cool. So,
and like I said, I'm a researchaholic, and I know a lot of other people aren't that way. So a lot of moms don't do all the research, and that's fine, but they think something's wrong with them, or they think it's just not for them. And I think having these things on hand really helps them reach their goals, because they find out things that they didn't know. Because there's educational materials in all my boxes as well, and it's just things that pop up. It gives moms something to read during a pumping session or a nursing session. They might be like, oh, I didn't realize I was drinking lemon and honey every morning in my tea, and I didn't realize that decreased my supply. Or they might find out that they have this thing for peppermint. They might eat peppermint candy all day long, and they didn't realize that decreased supply. So just everyday things that moms just don't think about, because you never have to think about it. And if you're not really looking and researching, you're not going to know. It's just not common knowledge.
Yeah, that's so important. The knowledge. I keep hearing how new moms aren't told as much as they should be about lactation and foods to eat and all that, right off the bat. And it's they have to go out and do all this research on their own. So that's awesome that you guys incorporate that into your boxes.
The subscription box idea was in my mind, and I was starting to get it going, and I knew with it being something online that I would need to market well. It's not a brick and mortar store. It's not something you need to bring people in locally, so it's not something I could just pass out flyers locally. It was something that needed to be on a bigger, realm perspective. So I needed a website, and I needed someone to, help lead me in the direction of marketing and help me get the info out there. So I visited this company. I set an appointment. One of the ladies, she talked to me over the phone, and she was like, we'd like to set up a meeting with you in person. So I go there in person, and the owner of the company comes, and that just happens to be Jessica. And she is so excited about this breastfeeding subscription box idea. So she actually ran into a lot of struggles with her son, Joe. She had him, I believe it was at 24 weeks, very unexpectedly. I believe she had a kidney rupture, and she was in Tampa. She wasn't even in her hometown. She was on a work trip. She ended up in the ICU. Baby ended up in the NICU, born early. I'll never forget her telling me this. She said the first thing she remembers when she woke up is she remembers writing on a piece of paper, because she couldn't even make words yet, that she needed someone to come pump her. Because she was in the NICU, and she was in the ICU, and her baby was in a completely different hospital down the street in the NICU. And the nurses were pumping her and taking her milk to her baby. And it was just that level of just, I'm going to make this happen, was just awesome. So we kind of really connected on that level, and it kind of turned into a partnership.
So you always knew before meeting Jessica you wanted us to do a subscription box. How did it develop? Were you first just okay, we'll give them a few products and some information, or has it kind of just developed to be even bigger than you had kind of thought originally?
Well, originally I was thinking just kind of the same things every month for moms, but there's too many different things that I want them to know about, and there's just no way to put that in a box without making it ridiculously expensive. And I wanted to have something that was super affordable for an everyday regular mom. Not I didn't want it to be like, oh, a rich person can afford this, or a higher, medium income family can. I wanted everyone to be able to have access to it. So I knew I had to do it on a smaller level. So what I try to do is 7 to 10 products per month in the box. Some of them are samples, some of them are bigger, full sizes. And that just gives moms ideas. 7 to 10 products gives you enough ideas to be like, okay, this is what I can do. And not all of them are breastfeeding related. Don't get me wrong. There are some other things that are just for baby. And I actually try to do something just for mom in each box. It doesn't always happen, but I try to get something that just kind of reminds mom to spend some time on herself. The educational materials were always really important to me to include in the box because I feel like people aren't educated enough on it. Not because there's something wrong with them, just because there's just not enough information out there. So putting the educational information in there was always important to me from the beginning. And then something that kind of came along the way was we actually do a craft for mom and baby card every month. And it's because so many of my friends with newborns and just that 0 to 12 month range would often be like, well, I don't know what to do with it. And we all know tummy time's important. We all know certain things are important. But I wanted to put something in the box for moms to have ideas on something that they could one-on-one do with their baby. Because a lot of exclusive pumpers feel like they don't get that bonding time with their baby. So this is another way to bond. A lot of breastfeeders feel like whoever their spouse or significant other is doesn't get to bond with baby because they're not able to breastfeed. So I wanted to help give moms ideas, things to do one-on-one with baby that are going to help baby mentally, that are going to give them some memories, gives them something to keep with baby, and just really help baby reach those milestones.
So I noticed on your website, and you kind of briefly touched on this earlier, pre-business, but on your website you talk about having a special area of your business dedicated to giving back. And I know you talked about giving back to the NICU. And then what else can you tell me about that? I know there's a couple different ways you've talked about giving back on your website.
So the NICU thing really stemmed from actually Colson and Joe. So Colson spent one day in the NICU. That's it. But it was a very hard day. And I can only imagine what these moms go through when it's longer. My business partner, her baby was in the NICU for almost 3 months. So we both have a really big passion for NICU moms and what they go through. And NICU moms especially, usually their babies are born preterm, which means it's harder for their milk to come in. And many times they don't get to latch, they have to pump, and we know how hard that is on nipples. So I really wanted to help these NICU moms because it's a very important time to breastfeed and provide that breast milk. And I wanted to be able to give moms, NICU moms, free boxes, something that would just motivate them in a really bad time, a really tough, stressful time, to say, hey, you're doing great, mom. Keep going. Like, this is important for your baby. This is going to make it easier, whether it's nipple balms or something to help increase their supply because they're struggling with it. Whatever it is, I wanted to be able to help those NICU moms.
What is your favorite part about this business?
My favorite part is hearing people come back to us. Sometimes we get feedback, and this is probably one of my favorite feedbacks to receive, is moms who say, I look forward to your box every month, and every time I would give up, I know that next box is coming in and it's going to give me something new to try.
So how do you decide what kind of information you want to put in there each month?
So we work with officially certified IBCLCs, and we develop these educational materials, and a lot of it's based off of a lot of things that I went through, but I also work with the IBCLCs to see what they think tends to be the most common problems.
Mm-hmm.
So between the IBCLCs I work with, but there's quite a few now, and then me and my experience, we kind of think of what's best, and we try to theme based on the month. Sometimes like Christmas time, we were like things to avoid, like peppermint or alcohol and stuff like that. Stress, hard around the holidays. And then World Breastfeeding Month, we got really excited and we got really pumped, and we reminded moms all the good things that come from it and all the reasons that they're doing this for their babies. So we try to theme things to an extent, but there's just so much that needs to be said every month because we don't want to overload moms with information to where they're just going to throw it out. We want to keep it short, sweet. It's just the front and the back of a page, bulleted, just things that make it easy, simple to read, and easy to remember.
Where do you see, or where do you hope to see Colson and Joe in the next 5 years?
I hope to see Colson and Joe, everywhere. really. I want to see us in more hospitals, giving back to those NICU moms. And obviously that's going to come with growth. The more we grow, the more NICUs we get to give back to. But I just kind of want Colson and Joe to be a little bit more of a common household thing. You know, if someone finds out someone having a baby, oh, are you getting Colson and Joe boxes? Or maybe a couple breastfeeding people in a group get together and they're all talking about what they got in their Colson and Joe box that month. You know, that's where I'd like to see it in 5 years. There's a goal overall, and I want to see, like, just, you know how they do every year they come out with, like, this is the percentage of moms breastfeeding to this age, this age, this age, this age. I don't know if Colson and Joe will specifically affect that, but I'm hoping that in some way we can help those rates increase.
That would be amazing. That's an amazing goal.
That would be really great.
Oh, yeah. Can you tell everyone where they can find your subscription boxes and where they can find you on Instagram?
Sure. We are at colsonandjoe.com. Online and the website, that's where all the ordering's done, but we do sneak peeks and fun stuff on our Instagram, giveaways and stuff like that. And our Instagram is just Colson and Joe is our handle.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down and, you know, talking with me today and sharing your story with everyone, because I mean, I think it's just really inspiring seeing how you just had these struggles at first being a mom, and then just turned it around and wanted to just help, you know, all the moms out there. So that's really awesome.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.